Peace be with you. Dear friends, welcome to Living Flame podcast website and Facebook group. Gospel reflections for Tuesday in the 13th week in the ordinary time. Gospel taken from Matthew chapter 8 verses 23 to 27. The disciples followed Jesus and they were in the boat, and this boat was tossed with the waves, swamped with the waves. They were in trouble. And actually, this was a lake which was very often agitated by the nearby mountains. The wind would enter through these mountains as it were entering through a tunnel, and that would cause a storm immediately in the Sea of Galilee, of course. And they were tossed. And it was a very dangerous thing for the disciples to travel like that. And Jesus was comfortably sleeping. And he had a pillow. Of course, Jesus had said very clearly that the Son of Man does not have a place to lay his head. But of course, in this boat, he had a place to lay his head. He was fatigued, he was tired. And then the disciples thought, they are going to be in greater danger if they don't wake up Jesus. And they wake him up because they were afraid of drowning. And Jesus wakes up and tells to those disciples, "You men of little faith, why were you afraid?" And he commands the waves to be silent. And immediately the wind ceases and the calm returns. Now, Matthew was writing his gospel to the Jewish folks. And it is a very clear sign that in the early church, the converted Jewish people were in a small boat. In the sense, the church was very small. There were all sorts of storms around them. There was persecution, there was criticism on the part of the Pharisees, scribes, and other Jewish leaders. And this small group of Christians was having this turbulence. They were swamped by the waves of the society. They were criticized. They criticized them as followers of Jesus. And they criticized them having some kind of rituals of their own. And consequently, they were terribly afraid. So this small boat symbolizes the early church in the Jewish community, and Jesus was asleep. Why Jesus was asleep? The disciples had from time to time to return to contemplation, to prayer, in order to be strengthened. Jesus, resurrected, ascended up into heaven, who was seated at the right hand of the Father, was pleading, and he had said that he would be always with them. And Jesus was with them all the time. But then this kind of turbulence made the disciples to panic, and they wanted to wake Jesus up. Rightly, we have to wake Jesus up when there is turbulence, when there is difficulty, and when there is a storm. Dear friends, this is a great lesson to all of us, that when we are troubled, when we are agitated because of the waves that swamp us in this world due to criticism, persecution, violence, and hatred towards us Christians, we should be always with Jesus. Perhaps the disciples did the right thing to wake Jesus up. The boat would not have gone down into the water, because how a boat could go down into the water when Jesus is in the boat? Remember these words: when Jesus is with us, nothing is going to happen. We will be persecuted, we will have uncertainties around us, insecurities, and our situations will be very precarious around us. But when Jesus is with us, dear friends, deep in our hearts, when we always find solace in Jesus, He will calm the storm and the peace will return. Therefore, on this day, when we meditate on this gospel passage, let us look at these disciples. They were marveled at what Jesus did. When He calmed the sea, they thought to themselves, what sort of a man is this? Even the winds and the waves obey Him. Of course, Jesus is the Son of God. When we believe in Him, our boats will never rock. We will be safe and we will reach our destination securely and peacefully. God bless you.